You're interested in surface pattern design. You've maybe taken a class, learned how to put art in repeat. You've heard stories of designers getting their art on quilting fabrics and apparel, and you want in. You know your art would look amazing on all types of products, but what does a professional surface pattern designer really do? Let's dive into the realities today. There are so many ways to work in this industry, and there isn't one through line of what a professional looks like. But as an experienced designer, I see newer designers who are often confused about what a surface pattern designer really does. And today I want to clear up a few misconceptions. For context, let me give you a little more information about my professional experience. I spent 10 years working as a staff designer. My official job titles range from CAD artist to print stylist, but at the heart, I was a surface pattern designer in each position. I most often worked on repeating art for bedding, tablecloths, placemats, and kids apparel. Now that I've been running my own creative business for over a decade, I've added all types of other products into my experience. I've designed for socks, greeting cards, dinnerware, rugs, lots of party paper goods, and wrapping paper. So let's dive into 3 things you should know about professional surface pattern design. Art licensing isn't the only opportunity for your work. Sure, it's a great income stream if you can build it up, but in recent years, it seems that it's become synonymous with surface pattern design. That's just not true. There are numerous ways to earn a living creating art for products, which I break down further in my video, Surface Pattern Design Jobs, Which Path is Right for You? And I've had experience in almost all of them. Currently, my main avenues of earning income with my art are freelance surface pattern design and art licensing. But you can earn your living with your art by working as a staff designer, like I used to do, creating consistent and saleable art for print-on-demand sites, or lending your talents to a print design studio. Those are some of the main ways to earn money with your art as a surface designer if you aren't interested in making your own products. But certainly those are not the only ways. So if you've been hung up on the idea of finding licensing partners, understand that there are other opportunities to use your skills to earn a living. If you want more info on what the difference between those different jobs are and what some of the things you need to know about each job is, be sure to check out Surface Pattern Design Jobs, Which Path is Right for You. It's not all about repeats. I know, surface pattern design does indicate that we are patterning all the time. And I break down the technical definitions versus the commonly used vernacular in my video, What is Surface Pattern Design? But what I've learned from years in the industry is that in practice, many surface pattern designers do an array of different types of art in their day-to-day work. In fact, these days, I like to say I create art for products rather than calling myself a surface pattern designer because it's more accurate. Even as a staff apparel designer working at Baby Gap, sometimes there would be a dress with a single flower along the hem or some embroidery around the chest or a sweater onesie with a sweet animal like these examples you're seeing here. These are obviously not patterns and I designed them as part of my job. I urge you to think outside the pattern and really look at the products you're interested in designing for. I always recommend that as you're trying to build a client base, you start with one product category because in short, it's easier to open one door than 6. If you have one category in mind for your work, it will dictate the formats you should use. For example, if you're interested in table linens, yes, a tablecloth or placemat could be a repeating pattern like we see on the left-hand side with the flamingos and the botanicals. But just as often, they aren't, like we see on the right with the lemons or the placed sea creatures. Keep that in mind as you build your portfolio. Look at what's happening with the products you're interested in. Are they all repeats? If you need more help on the idea of choosing one category to get started with, I have a masterclass called Find Your Focus to help you out. I'm going to leave the link for that in the description because it is crazy valuable. It has helped a lot of designers get a good, solid foundation for starting their career, and I want you to have that same foundation. All right, I have one more misconception to clear up, but first, if you find this content useful, be sure to subscribe and tell me in the comments if any of these points have surprised you so far, or if there's anything else you've been wondering about being a professional surface pattern designer. Finally, last but not least, it is not always about new design work. I want new designers to understand that there is a lot of what I call production work, which is formatting and reworking art that already exists, whether it's your own or someone else's. And that's often a really big part of the job of a surface designer. Again, it's going to depend on your position and the types of services you offer, but even if I create something that I intend to be for one product in my licensing portfolio, a licensing partner may ask to see it in another format for their products, which will lead to me reworking, recoloring, and reimagining. So this is an example on the left, this lemon design of something that I created as part of a collection of other fruits for a wall art design. So that is why it's meant to hang on the wall. It's got these tiles and it's got this illustration of lemons. But it's really versatile art, and I wanted to show it off to licensors as something that could be used on other products. So I used some of the same elements from the original art and reformatted them and reworked them and rescaled them and reimagined them into various kitchen textiles and table linens and serveware and things like that in order to show off to licensors what my art can do. And this takes time. This is something that could be a big part of your day if you're putting together this type of work. Even as a staff designer, I did this with art all the time, with art that my companies that I worked for purchased from design studios. They would purchase beautiful patterns or illustrations, and it'd be my job to rescale, redraw areas, recolor, or reformat to fit our seasonal needs. So in this example, you're seeing some textured, kind of vintage looking artwork that was purchased by a company that I was working for, and then you're seeing my version of it that's redrawn and slightly recolored, and the full repeat, certain pieces that weren't that smooth and clean got cleaned up to look nicer, to look a little bit more realistic or more stylized or whatever. And this is the type of work I would do all the time as a staff designer, and often do some as a freelance designer. So while you may be imagining a job where you just create new and beautiful things all the time, there's often a lot of reworking, revising, and being flexible, and working to make your art fit into the specific marketable box that a company is looking for. Remember that being flexible with your art is an important part of working as a commercial designer. You're working to fit into the commercial market, and so that is just part of the job. I hope that helped clarify a few things as you consider how to build your business. Definitely check out the videos I recommend about surface pattern design jobs and technical definitions. I'll link to those in a minute. But if you're interested in learning more about honing in on a niche in order to make your work smoother, definitely check out my link in the description below for the Find Your Focus Masterclass. Head to elizabethsilver.com/learn if you want more straightforward support with surface pattern design and creative business. Learn all about how to create successful licensing collections, how to build your surface pattern design business, how to quickly get a pitch out to a potential client. There's a lot to see at elizabethsilver.com/learn.